ladies and gentlemen. In the next 5 minutes, permit me to turn your world upside down. Even though I had the most expensive, exclusive, elitist education in India, my real education started when I started the Barefoot College in 1971, and I went to live with people who earn less than $1 a day. And that's when I was exposed to the most extraordinary knowledge and skills that very poor people have. And I thought I'd start a college only for the poor, built by the poor. And the first thing I convinced myself to do was that anyone who had some knowledge and skills in the rural area would be recognized by the Barefoot College, but anyone who came to me with a degree and qualification would be disqualified. The Barefoot College was built by someone who still can't read and write. But it is by far the only only college in India which is fully solar energized. It has 45 kilowatts of panels on the roofs, and everything works off the sun. For the next 25 years, I have no problems with power. But it was actually installed by someone who's a village priest, who became a master trainer and an engineer who's only done 6 years of primary schooling. And he went on and started training women as engineers. This is the first barefoot woman solar engineer of India, who doesn't know how to read and write, but she has solar electrified 30 night schools. And we started solar electrifying, training women and putting them into the most remote parts of Rajasthan. And wherever we could install night schools, we would have solar lanterns, and 7,000 children would work off these night schools at night. And wherever there were solar lanterns, they would earn more income. We went up to Ladakh, and we solar electrified 300 villages up in Ladakh at -30. When we asked a woman, what was the benefit you had from solar energy? And she looked at us and said, it's the first time I can see my husband's face in winter. Solar electrified 600 villages, and that's what we've done all over India. And then we said, why only India? Why not go abroad? So we went to Afghanistan. Picked the first woman ever from Afghanistan, never left her house in her life, but we brought her to India. She only came with her husband because she couldn't come alone. And she went back and solar electrified the first villages ever in Afghanistan, completely baffled and completely awed all the engineers in Afghanistan. And she herself now has trained 27 more women. This is the woman who actually went and solar electrified her own village in Afghanistan. These were the 3 women. This is our best woman solar engineer, 55-year-old grandmother who can't read and write, but she has solar electrified 200 houses in Afghanistan, still working today since September 2005. They first have set up a rural electronic workshop, and that workshop is installed by the engineer, and then they solar electrify each house. In 2005, when they solar electrified the first villages in Afghanistan, we calculated how much it cost to bring the 3 women to India, train them for 6 months, buy solar panels up to 125 units, and install 5 villages. It is the cost of one UN expert sitting in Kabul for 1 year. The UN didn't believe it. They said, you can't show this film. I said, why not? Tell me how much you spend on an expert in Afghanistan. And they have 700 experts in Afghanistan. Not one village is solar electrified, sadly. Today, those 3 women have trained 27 more women without coming back to India, and they have solar electrified 101 villages. What is the Barefoot approach? In Africa, this is what they use as lighting. This is unacceptable today in 2009, that they should have a light like that in Africa. So what we did was, each one spends about $3 to $5 for kerosene a month. So what we did was that we called a meeting, we formed a committee, they established an electronic workshop, and then we came up with a very innovative solution. We said, we would like to train grandmothers, illiterate, rural grandmothers who's never left their villages in their lives. And why not train them to be solar engineers? So we started in Africa. Sorry, this got stuck. We have solar electrified over 100 villages in the whole continent of Africa. We have about 100 grandmothers who have come to the Barefoot College to train as solar engineers. And the only way you train them is with your hand. You don't use the written word at all. It's only by hand and sight and sound. This is innovation at its best. Only by sight and sound and hand, we trained 100 grandmothers from about 15 countries in Africa, and they've gone back and solar electrified their own village. The whole process cost us $1.5 million, which is what, regrettably, the Millennium Village is spending, or I think wasting, on one village only. We like to think that if you want to have a sustainable approach today, you have to demystify and you have to decentralize. That's the only way that you can do it. I will end with a quotation by Mahatma Gandhi, who said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. Thank you.